Well, hello, family. I am just so excited to come to you guys today. I have an amazing young man, and he just happened to be my nephew. But I have an amazing young man who's been doing some amazing things. And I've had a heart's desire to reach that millennial generation. They're doing some amazing things. I know some people say they're lazy and they don't want to do anything, but I know some that are doing some amazing things. So before we get started, I'm going to let David Carter introduce himself to you. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the invite and I'm glad to be here. So yes, I am your nephew. My name is David. So just to introduce myself real quick, I was born and raised in Winchester, Virginia. Went to college on a partial football scholarship at Shepherd University in West Virginia. Graduated 2015, got my master's degree online a few years later at a different school. Currently work in finance for the government Department of the Navy at the Pentagon. And my true passion is investing in real estate. So that's the side business. That's what I'm, 100% passionate about and what I do outside of my day job. Right now I live in Northern Virginia, Fairfax County. It's about 15 to 20 minutes outside of DC. Other than that, I love sports. I love working out, anything fitness related. That's what I like doing. That's what I like being around. Um, I'm a son to two great parents, a brother and an uncle.
Yes, yes. Well, welcome. I'm so excited to have you. So we're going to just jump right on in. You hear me talk about a lot about being bold and living life bold. And I just have a desire to kind of think when it comes to living life bold, in your opinion, what does that mean to you?
That's a great question. And I'll try not to have like my answer sound too cliche, but I kind of truly believe that living boldly simply means taking actions toward your goals or taking action toward your dreams and just living authentic. Um, Going after what you want in this world, taking the right steps to get there. And, that comes with taking risks. I love taking risks, but I always like taking calculated risks, meaning, I'm doing my due diligence before making those decisions or before I jump into something.
Wow.
I also kind of believe that you got to make sacrifices with that, right? You got to leave old habits behind. You got to let go of attachments. You got to sometimes let go of mindsets that no longer serve you.
Wow.
And that comes with just being mature enough to make those type of decisions. Um, Also, you got to be assertive and not passive. You got to speak up, stand up for yourself, because at the end of the day, no one else will. Um, I don't like to make excuses. So I like saying, don't make excuses, don't blame others for your downfalls, and hold not only yourself, but the people around you, in your close circle accountable. And then finally, I would just say, just having that self-confidence and believing that you're worthy, you're good enough. Living boldly is, I pretty much, to sum it all up, just pretty much the act of making that change from living in your comfort zone to that next higher level. So that's what I would say it means to me.
Ooh, well, David, you came out the gate strong. I mean, you said some powerful things. You talked about the mindset, being willing to let go of attachments, things that don't necessarily serve you anymore. Oh my goodness, not having any excuses, having self-confidence, accountability. Oh my God, like I said, you came out the gate powerful. So when you say all of that, what does that actually look like in your day-to-day life? How do you live that out?
Right. I would say, I take it day by day. Of course I have my, 5-year, 10-year goals, but I like to break it down to each day. I like saying, you got to win the day. So I make sure that I just do anything and everything I can do to win the day and make today count. And, if I win the day, at the end of the night, I can say, all right, I did a good job today. And, I'm ready to do the same thing tomorrow. And ultimately, it'll lead up to that 5-year goal, 10-year goal down the road if just take it day by day, just work hard each day.
Right. Now, you mentioned how you are into real estate investment and things of that nature. In your pursuit of that, I'm sure there were some obstacles that kind of came into play. How
Definitely.
did you overcome them?
Um, I just kept going. I just didn't give up. I just kept telling myself that if I just keep chucking at it, I'll eventually get through what I'm going through. And just to bring it back to just taking it day by day and just,
Mhm.
working towards overcoming that downfall or that challenge that I'm maybe going through at the time. And, just keep chucking at it, keep praying and just believing that it'll all work out, as long as I don't give up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the only way you can fail is if you give up. If you don't
Wow.
give up, then you're still going toward the goal and still working toward it.
Right.
So you still have a
Right.
chance.
Right. Now, when it comes to um, moving and doing the things that we want and living bold, would you say personal development is a important component?
Personal development.
Yes. Hmm.
Yes, definitely like personal growth. I feel like that's kind of the only way to grow is to try new things and step out of your comfort zone.
Hmm.
How do you know your true limits if you don't test them, right? You
Hmm.
don't push yourself.
Hmm.
So you have to challenge
Hmm.
yourself for personal growth.
Hmm.
If you're always doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results.
Right.
You're not
Right.
progressing in life. If you
Absolutely.
don't say yes and challenge yourself.
Right.
So
Right.
100%.
Right. And viewers, I apologize if you heard that phone ringing real quick. I tried to mute it so that wouldn't happen. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me. But I agree with you absolutely. Personal development is definitely important. Now, what I like that you talked about is coming out of your comfort zone,
Mhm.
trying new things. I remember my niece, she's been into this IV drip. And I let her talk me into going to get one. And the first time I went, I was so nervous, but it really wasn't that bad. It
Mhm.
was just a hydration drip. And afterwards, I felt, a little bit funny, but after a while, I was like, okay, I felt really good. It's kind of helping my skin out a little bit. I'm not a big water drinker, so I thought I could cheat a little bit and just go get this hydration
Oh,
drip
okay.
to sort of help out. So I'm still playing with it, but that is definitely new that, has caused me to step out of my comfort zone for
Right.
sure.
That sounds
Now,
interesting.
has there been anybody in your life, any two, three people that really inspired you and really helped you come to develop the amazing young man that you are today?
Man, my parents,
Awesome.
specifically my mother, she's
Mm,
my role model. She's the person
mm,
that has molded me into the man I am today. I
yes.
definitely look up to her, as a little child. And, she's been there right by my side, through
Awesome.
every challenge and obstacle that I had to overcome throughout my life up
Mhm,
into this point. So
mhm,
definitely my mother, I
mhm,
definitely, just look at what she's done. As a kid and seeing her as a pastor, seeing her as a leader
mhm,
in the school
mhm,
system
mhm,
and in the community. And that's just something that I desire to be like. And I just try to,
mhm,
replicate the things that she does. So definitely my
mhm,
mother. And also my father was there too. He definitely showed me hard work and
mhm,
dedication and
mhm.
to have that drive to not give up. So definitely him too. So my parents were definitely big in my life as role models.
Absolutely, for sure, for sure. Now, let's see. Now, are there any specific principles or values that have guided your decisions to live boldly?
Definitely. So principles that have guided my decisions to live boldly. I'm gonna always just bet on myself. That's something I believe 100%. You see people bet on sports, right? They bet on sports athletes, professional
Mhm,
athletes, and sporting
mhm,
games all the time, but they're too scared to bet on themselves.
mhm,
Whether that be starting a business or taking on a new challenge. So me myself, I rather fail and have that lesson to learn from versus being scared or not believing in myself and having that thought of, what if I did this? What if I did that? Or, what if I have taken that chance? Right. So I rather just bet on myself and go after it. Um, Another principle I live by is just, keeping your circle close, right? Not everybody needs to know your next move and what you're doing because not everybody's going to have your best interests, right? Or be cheering for you. So I definitely believe in that also. And that's something I had to, grow up and learn. I had a lot of friends in high school, college, but as you get older, that circle kind of gets smaller, which is a good thing, right? And lastly, I would just say, just staying prayed up, believing in God, believing that God always has your back, and that his plan always rules. So putting all that together, those principles guide my decisions to live boldly.
Wow, wow. I'm telling you, the wisdom that comes out of you is just so, so, so amazing. Now, have you ever had like a challenge, something that, you thought it was going to be really difficult for you to overcome? And if you're comfortable sharing that story and how you came it.
Um, yeah, I've had a lot of challenges, a whole lot of challenges in my life. Moments in my life where I had to live boldly, and I'm sure I'll have many more. But just to list a couple, and I can bring it all the way back to high school, when I had to make that big decision whether or not I wanted to go to college or follow my dad and older brother and what they did, which was going into the military. So I ended up deciding to take the college route. And even with making that decision, I had to decide on whether or not I wanted to take the scholarship to play football at Shepherd University, where I ended up going, which is a smaller school, or possibly, walking on at a bigger school and playing ball elsewhere. So that's probably the first biggest decision or biggest challenge where I had to really think about all the pros and cons and live boldly and intentional with my decisions. Secondly, I would probably say, like, after college, graduating and making that decision to move out of my mom's crib and move to where I wanted to live, which was Northern Virginia, where I'm at now. You know, that was where my job was. That's where I wanted to start my life after college. So I definitely had to make a bold decision there and really bet on myself, because I knew this area, Fairfax County, isn't cheap. It's really not a cheap place to live. And, I knew I had to make some sacrifices if I wanted to remain here. And then lastly, I would just say, probably my largest financial decision at the time was buying my first investment property.
Wow.
Back in 2018. I was renting at the time in Northern Virginia for about 3 years, and I knew I was tired of paying that high rent. And at the time, I was probably about maybe 6 or 7 months into really diving deep into my real estate studies. So, I remember listening to real estate podcasts to and from work on different strategies and how to get started in real estate. So just making that bold decision to jump into the game and purchase my first property, knowing that, I was buying it as an investment, and, I ended up renting out a portion of that property while I was living there. And then after a year, moving out of the property and fully renting it out to a tenant. And, that became my first rental.
Wow.
So pretty much saying yes to purchasing that first property was probably my biggest decision, and definitely the boldest decision I made at the time.
For sure, for sure. Awesome. Wow. Congratulations. Now, during this process, did you have any like mentors or coaches to kind of help you along the journey?
Not really. I'm a big advocate for just doing my own, research, doing my own studies, you know what I mean? YouTube University right there. I can learn so much from YouTube, so much from podcasts and books. So that was me. I'm a student of the game. And like I said, I had probably about a 30 to 45 minute commute to work every day back in those years. And like I said, I would just listen to podcasts to and from work, and, just coming up with my plan to jump into the industry. So but definitely, my older cousin Ashley, she was definitely someone who was already in the game. She was a real estate agent, so she was somebody that I would, reach out to if I needed anything also. So she was definitely
You
there.
had some resources. Yeah.
Definitely had resources. So
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Wow. Well, wow. This has just been an amazing, amazing conversation. Um, So what advice would you give or to encourage others, especially in your generation, to live boldly, or, how could they begin to live their life boldly?
Right. Um, YOLO, right? You only live once. You never want to have regrets in life. Um, there's a quote, and I don't know if I'm not 100% sure if Michael Jordan said it or Kobe, but he was saying like you miss 100% of every shot that you don't take. And I love that quote and I live by it. So, like I said earlier, worst case scenario, if you fail or if you take a loss, you know what not to do next time. Losses are lessons, and it'll ultimately make you a better person at the end of the day. So you definitely, just to sum it all up, like living on purpose, which means you got to live intentional about your choices and the actions that you make. And then finally, just making those calculated risks, right? Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone to reach your goals in life. So that's the advice I would give somebody.
Wow, guys, there you have it. I mean, he gave us some amazing gems. I hope you go back and watch it and just begin to take some notes, because he definitely gave us a lot of gems in reference to living bold. And it was so nice to hear it from, his generation. Now, I have another question that just hit me. I've talked to a lot of women about it. So it was just interesting to get, the perspective from a male view, to see. But to me, it doesn't really sound all that different.
Right.
A lot of women have said, a lot of the same things that you have said. So when it comes to, I know you a nice, strong, handsome young man. So when it comes to relationships and living bold, what does that look like?
Another great question. um, I would probably just say, you gotta make sure your partner has the same mindset as you. It doesn't have to be 100%, you know, eye for an eye or whatever, but you guys got to be on the same page, for a lot of things, because if you don't have somebody there supporting you who or has the same mindset as you or has the same like oriented as you, then it's gonna be hard to like, get to your goals, right? So you definitely want to pick your partner really carefully. Take your time, don't rush things, and definitely have somebody who is on the same page as you. It's very important.
Wow. Okay, so before we end, let's have a little bit of fun. What are your three top books to read? What are the three top books you would recommend to read?
Man, Auntie, to be honest, I don't read books like that. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm not gonna throw three book names out there. I don't really read books like that.
Okay.
I'm a more of like, YouTube
Okay.
podcasts. So I could throw out a podcast. I like Bigger Pockets. That's a real estate
Okay.
podcast that I listen
Bigger
to.
pockets. Okay.
Yep, that
Uh-huh.
kind of helped me out
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning stages of my career in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like listening to podcasts,
Okay.
from YouTube,
Okay.
television, um,
Okay.
people on social media, the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody on social media is good for you,
Right.
but
Right.
I do
Right.
follow a few people.
Right.
But
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
that's how I am on books.
Okay, now maybe you could tell me this then. Who are your top three artists when it comes to music?
Wow. Okay. So I'm a big J. Cole, Kendrick, Lamar. Um, Number three, I mean, recently over the past like year and a half, it's been LaRussell. He's an
Okay.
artist out of California,
Okay.
the Bay
Okay.
Area. But yeah, I like artists who are lyrical, who are actually, talking
Okay.
about things and
Okay.
have some substance to their lyrics and what they're
Okay.
talking about. But yeah, those are my three top artists: J. Cole, Kendrick
Okay.
Lamar, and LaRussell right now.
Okay. And last question, what would be your dream vacation?
Wow. Man, I'm not too picky, man. Anywhere that has pretty water and some nice sand, hey, I'm there.
Okay.
Whether that be, going to Mexico, going to, the Virgin Islands, Bali, or Florida. It don't really
Mhm.
got to be somewhere crazy, but
Mhm.
anywhere where I can get some good weather, some fresh air, be on the beach with some nice clear water, that's where I like to be.
Wow. Well, David, I thank you so much. I really enjoyed chatting with you. I know our audience definitely enjoyed it. So until next time, continue to grow, be greater, be the best version of yourself that you can be. Take care.
All right. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.